Thank you for your interest in the City of Pittsburgh's 2024 Neighborhood Economic Development Grant, also known as NED. Today you will be hearing from me, Joshua Roland, Program Supervisor, and AJ Stevens, Program Coordinator. We are both part of the Office of Management and Budget Community Development team. Over the course of this presentation, you will learn about the source of the NED grant, learn about the program overview, and receive updates on changes to the grant which are being implemented this year. We will also give an overview of what type of organizations and activities are eligible for funding through this grant and discuss the application process. At the end of the presentation, we will share our contact information for follow-up questions or concerns. The city typically receives between $13 and $14 million in CDBG funds per year, most of which is used for city infrastructure and development projects, as well as other grants. However, $720,000 is budgeted for NED grants. CDBG money, being from the federal government, of course has restrictions. The program is designed to benefit low and moderate income persons, prevent or eliminate slums and blight, or meet urgent needs which have no other funding source. The CDBG program requires that at least 70% of its funding directly benefit low to moderate income city residents. NED grants are funded from this portion of the city's annual CDBG allocation. NED activities are typically categorized as area benefit activities, meaning that they are activities undertaken to benefit all residents in a qualifying census tract or area. AG will discuss this requirement more later. Before applying, applicants should be aware that NED is a reimbursement grant. This means the grantee, also known as the subrecipient, will sign a contract with the city and then directly pay for goods or services with money already existing in their budget. The expenses will be decided in advance and be part of the contract. Once the subrecipient has submitted the required documents to the city proving they have spent the money, they will receive their reimbursement check. A lot of these program updates were instated last year but bear repeating. The only entirely new eligibility requirement is 501c3 status. Fiscal sponsorships are no longer allowed. In addition to nonprofit status, these grants have a few other strict eligibility requirements. This is in an effort to more clearly define the goals and impact of these funds. Only registered community organizations, RCOs, and community-based organizations, CBOs, are invited to apply for these grants. Your organization does not have to be a CBO and an RCO, but it must be at least one or the other. RCOs are officially recognized by the Department of City Planning. CBO is a self-defined status describing a nonprofit working to improve economic conditions in their neighborhood. We have also more clearly defined the eligible project types to better suit long-term neighborhood economic development goals. These new project types will be listed on a later slide. Finally, the timeline of the grant has also shifted from previous years. Applications are due August 5th via the Engage PGH portal. Contracts will not be executed until January of next year, meaning expenses before January of 2025 will not be reimbursable. Now to go to the logistics of applying for 2024 funds. On this slide, you see the eligibility requirements for applicants. In addition to RCO and/or CBO status, organizations interested in NED funding must have a 501c3 nonprofit status and be current on annual filings to the IRS. If your organization has not filed a 990 last year, you will need to attach a letter on your letterhead explaining why. This should only affect newly formed organizations. Organizations without 501c3 status are not eligible for these funds, even with a fiscal sponsorship. You will also be required to provide a copy of your Articles of Incorporation and written bylaws. You may be asked to demonstrate that your organization has proven financial management capacity and a mission to support a specific City of Pittsburgh neighborhood or geographic area. NED stands for Neighborhood Economic Development. We are not funding citywide projects with these grants. Organizations must also have a Unique Entity ID or UEI. The federal government requires that all applicants obtain a UEI, which has replaced the DUNS number. Organizations will also need to become fully registered through sam.gov. Please note that registration must be renewed annually. We have linked resources on navigating the SAM.gov website, including a video explaining the process on the application webpage and on these slides. If you don't have one already, start the process to obtain a UEI immediately, as it can take several weeks to be issued. Along with the UEI, organizations should be in good financial standing with the City of Pittsburgh and have appropriate insurance. All organizations must have general liability insurance, and if an organization has paid staff, they must also have workers' compensation insurance. I am now going to hand things off to my colleague AJ to discuss the project types and the application process.
Thank you, Josh. As we mentioned earlier, these funds must be used to serve Pittsburgh residents with low and moderate incomes. We have a map of eligible census tracts available on our website. Please be sure to use this map rather than other census data, as this is the most recent HUD-approved map. NED projects must address one of the following goals as laid out in the program guidelines: Main Street revitalization, which will involve business district improvement and growth; affordable housing improvements, focusing on improving affordable housing projects; vacancy reduction, which increases the use of existing residential and commercial buildings in the city; and organizational development, which increases the awardee's capacity to provide economic development services which apply to the previous goals. As mentioned on the previous slide, organizational development is one of the main goals of the NED program. As such, one 4-year renewable $50,000 capacity building grant is awarded each year to help foster growth in less established organizations within the city. The Capacity Building Award is available to groups with less than $75,000 in annual revenue and expenses averaged across the last 3 years. Awardees will receive technical assistance in conjunction with the grant, and they will report their progress at regular meetings. Only one capacity building grant is awarded per year, and capacity building applicants are still eligible for general NED awards. As a reminder, applications will only be accepted through the Engage Pittsburgh website, and they must be submitted by Monday, August 5th at 5 p.m. This is a hard deadline. The grant request minimum is $10,000 and the maximum is $40,000 unless you are requesting a capacity building grant, in which case the maximum is $50,000. Here you can see the required attachments for your application. If your organization has not filed a 990 last year, you will need to attach a letter on your letterhead explaining why. This is only for newly formed organizations. Attachment E is a board resolution approving your application submission. Let us know as soon as possible if you will have difficulty passing this resolution in time for the deadline. If any of these attachments are too large for our website, please contact us. There will also be a section for optional additional uploads if you have supplemental materials you feel support your application. After uploading all your attachments, you can submit your application. Again, we will only accept online applications on Engage PGH. There is a Word document available that you can download to draft your answers. Now let's look at the grant application page. Much of the information in this presentation is written on this page. In particular, note the resources for obtaining a UEI and the Q&A registration link. After reviewing the information, you can scroll down to the application. The application must be completed in one sitting. If you refresh the page, you will lose your progress. We have provided a Word document where you can draft your answers and then paste into this application. The first section of this application asks for organization information, including contact information, nonprofit status, and insurance. After is where you will describe your organization's project and who you are serving. You will also be asked about how program success will be measured and to provide an estimated number. Options include small businesses supported, vacant properties returned to use, affordable housing units created or rehabilitated, and residents engaged in development projects. Please be realistic and estimate the number which would be served if your organization were awarded the full grant request. If you are a capacity building applicant, please only provide the estimate for the first year. Please be aware that engaging residents in development projects cannot be your only measure of success, and your project must also have goals in one of the other areas. You will also be asked about finances and community engagement. If you are applying for the Capacity Building Grant, you will be required to complete some additional questions. Remember, even if you are not awarded the Capacity Building Grant, you will still be considered for and possibly awarded a one-year NED grant. Finally, at the bottom of the page, you will see where to upload attachments and a button to submit your application. The application form will not allow you to submit if all required sections are not uploaded and completed. Here you can see the important dates for this application. The application opens July 1st, and there will be question and answer sessions on Tuesday, July 16th from 5 to 6 p.m. and Wednesday, July 17th from 12 to 1 p.m. Both sessions will be virtual via Microsoft Teams. Please register to attend one of these if you have any questions or require help with your application. It is important to start early with the UEI and board resolution to make sure you don't miss the application date for August 5th at 5 p.m. After the application has been submitted, our office, the Office of Management and Budget Community Development Division, will review applications for eligibility, and the NED Advisory Committee will invite up to 20 organizations to give a half-hour presentation. Based on the scores of those presentations, the NED Advisory Committee will make a recommendation to City Council. City Council has the final say in how awards are allocated and will legislate these awards in October of 2024, after which the organizations will be officially notified. Once the organizations have been notified, you will begin working with members of our team to get your contracts in place so they can begin in January 2025. As a reminder, you will not be reimbursed for program expenses before the start date of your contract. If you have any follow-up questions or concerns, please feel free to email community.development@pittsburghpa.gov. You can also visit our website to learn more about the grant and register for the question and answer sessions. Thank you for listening to the end of this presentation, and a sincere thank you for the good work you do in our communities.